Well, hey, Dave, thanks a lot. We have looked like about almost 60 people on the line, which is awesome. I appreciate all of our loan officers that got this to jump on this call with us. You know, this started, Dave, if you remember a couple of weeks ago, you and me and Mike were exchanging some emails around our priorities for 2018. And you asked an interesting question, which was, I think, if I get it close, correct me if I'm wrong, but if I get it close, don't. Is a mortgage coach, the use of a mortgage coach total cost analysis, your number one strategy for 2018? And we had some banter going back and forth about, no, I think the real strategy is, continuing to develop meaningful relationships with referral partners and continuing to convert our database into repeat business and referral business. And we threw a number of different things back at you saying, no, these are the real strategies. A mortgage coach is a part of that. And you came back with some very interesting dialogue and some coaching, which Mike and I both thought was very powerful thinking. And as we look into next year and we look at what we're trying to accomplish as a company, a couple of things kind of came to mind. One is being masters at what we choose to do. And we've chosen at Churchill Mortgage to give every customer we work with an expectation that they should be receiving a mortgage coach total cost analysis and an experience on managing their mortgage asset by way of mortgage coach tools. We just think that's a better way to serve our clients and realtor partners. And so we want to make sure that we have that discipline embedded throughout the organization, period. I believe if we have a way to show loan options to consumers and a way to help realtors see how to sell and finance homes better, how dare we not use that, especially mortgage coach, which is what I think is the number one way to show those loan options on the market. And so before I ramble on here, Dave, you jumped back at Mike and I with some very, very clear, powerful messages. So let's just let you take it from there.
All right. So thank you for giving me this audience. I think I see all the names. I know a lot of these names. I consider a lot of you friends, whether it's me being at a Churchill event or just seeing you around the industry. So, hey, everybody. Do want to ask people, anybody that wants to turn on their video and, have a conversation, let's do it. I chose this venue. How you doing? I chose this venue because at Churchill, what mortgage coach is very well known. I think everybody knows what it is. And, different folks on this call use the mortgage coach technology platform at various levels of consistency, at various levels of effectiveness. But I wanted this to be a fireside chat. So I'm going to go on a bit of a rant for like 10, 15 minutes on, why I think mortgage coach should literally not be number 2, not be number 3, not be number 4, be your number one priority. And specifically the area of annual reviews. And so, my job at Mortgage Coach is to always, as a leader of the company to help prioritize what we do and what we work on. And, automating annual reviews, delivering annual reviews was a top priority last year. But really, the only reason why I have a job is because people like Matt and Mike trust myself and the entire Mortgage Coach team to power automation to help their loan officers close more loans. It's really that simple. And I've always been an innovator and a visionary. And so part of my job and part of how I'm just naturally wired is to see where the puck is going. What does it look like to be a referral-based local loan officer in 2020? And what can loan officers do today so that by the time 2020 comes, they're like a snowball rolling down the hill, just getting bigger, call it sustainable success. And I really do believe while technology has massively shifted, not the mortgage industry, it shifted the human experience. Just flash back 10 years ago or 11 years ago, before there was this thing called an iPhone, and flash to today where there's a Zillow, where paperless open houses are trending, where, people are just doing life on mobile phones, and then also I'm going to show some slides in a minute. The way we as mortgage professionals need to communicate is different. And I don't think anybody could disagree with me that if you ask realtors what's most important to you, there's going to be things like keeping your promises and closing on time, but the word communication is going to come up. How you communicate, how proactively you communicate, and communication has changed. It's no longer email, phone, and in person. It's text, it's Facebook Messenger, it's platforms like Mortgage Coach. Communication has changed. So I put a few links in chat, and part of my goal with this meeting that we're going to have is that everybody is going to read some of this content, really become one with it. I hope you make some decisions, and my goal is, one of those decisions is that you make annual reviews. I'm going to make the case for why it's number one, but even if it's number 2 or 3, hopefully it's going to make the priority of one of those top priorities for you. So,
hey, Dave,
I'm going to, go ahead.
Dave, real quick, because I want to put this thought in everybody's mind while you're going through these slides, is that there really isn't any excuse for our team not to make annual mortgage reviews a number 1 priority and do it consistently every month, because we already have it automated to where it pushes to them their list of all of the annual mortgage reviews that they need to do each month into their Mortgage Coach pipeline every month. And so the only reason that they wouldn't be doing that is because they chose not to.
There you go. There you go. So could you confirm that you can see my screen?
Yeah, we can see it.
All right. So I'm going to go back and forth between slides and screen just to make some points. So by the way, this is being recorded, so you can look back and watch the recording. But first, let's just buy into this concept that how we communicate is different today. It's no longer phone, email, really simple communication strategy. Technology people call this an omni strategy, but at the end of the day, it is multiple devices. It is email. It is text. We need to just communicate differently with families. And then, a couple things. One, I saw on Rob Crispin over the weekend, this was this weekend, so weekend after we had our little email debate, that there's this debate going on who owns the customer. Is it the wholesale lender or the broker? Is it the, who services the loan? There was this who owns the customer? And I'm just telling you, as mortgage originators, in 2020, there's going to be big data, artificial intelligence, and corporate lenders are going to have a better advantage on using automation to own that customer. And so, when I was kind of formulating what's the leadership I bring to Matt and Mike, what's the leadership I bring to loan officers, it's who owns the customer? It's the person has a relationship, that is connecting, year after year. It's like the person with the most friends wins. The loan officer with the most families that know them and appreciate them and trust them as a mortgage professional wins. And with technology, annual reviews have never been easier. Whether it's how Churchill is automating them and is going to continue to evolve how they automate it, but more importantly, it's you putting time on your calendar to deliver that annual review experience. So let's go through the article. By the way, if anybody has already read this and you had a big takeaway, I want to make this a conversation. Post that in chat, and I can't unmute people. And also, if anybody is not convinced that that annual review should be among their top 3 priorities by the time we're done with this call, I want to know. Let's talk about that too. In a very constructive, humble, and open-minded way. Maybe in your market, or maybe based off of your model and your circumstances, there's some reason you're just this is number 5. Let's just talk about it. So I'm going through the list, and and remember, I was putting reflection on what's the most important thing. And then I was thinking about interviews that I had done over the course of, I interview hundreds of loan officers a year, and I'm asking about their strategies. And so not only did I come up with reasons, I came up with interviews that I've done that are tactical. They have scripts, they give you ideas and strategies to actually implement. So number one, I think I already covered that, just the concept that, the loan officer who's local referral based, you want to have a sustainable career, you need to do annual reviews. You need to build close relationships with hundreds of families. In terms of, there is no better strategy to get incremental business out of your current database. So Darren Hardy talks about this a lot. Todd Duncan talks this a lot. By the way, I interviewed Todd today. I recommend you guys check out that interview. Todd, by the way, he was kind of going, what do he thinks the mandates are for 2018? Annual reviews was on that. By the way, I didn't lead that. I didn't make that happen. That was Todd's presentation. But, at the end of the day, the best mortgage professionals who are going to be the most successful, they leverage their database and then they amplify their voice using technology. So number three, and this is, I think, the biggest miss, and Mike, or not Matt, I think you made the case that, it's not a refi market, so maybe annual reviews are a lower strategy. And I was like, you know what? There are great questions that you can ask during annual reviews. The top loan officers that I'm interviewing right now, they are pulling tremendous purchase leads out of those conversations, and they're bringing it back to their realtors. So not only are you going to get loans, but you're going to get leads to give to your referrals. And this was just a comment from John Downs. By the way, John is a $100 million producer in he's in Annapolis, Maryland. Absolutely epitomizes a mortgage coach. And by the way, John Downs has only been using Mortgage Coach for 60 days. Well, maybe it's like 70 or 80 days as of today. But when I did the interview of him, he just added it to his arsenal. And again, you can listen to the interview, hear the results, and hear what he's doing with annual reviews. And it's going to take his game to the next level. Hey, by the way, Mike or Matt, do you have any comments or questions before I keep rolling through these reasons?
No, keep going. I mean, I'm totally bought in. I think this has got to be everybody's top strategy.
Cool. So CPAs and financial planners. Again, at Churchill, your goal is to be the captain of the wealth team that serves the family. You want to help families achieve wealth and financial freedom through mortgages. So if you were doing an annual review with families, and you were getting, you were helping them make the best decision. Obviously, real estate is where we lead. That's where you lead. You were doing that. But let's face it, you're going to come out of those conversations with, oh, let me refer you to my CPA. Oh, let me refer you to my financial planner. Oh, you don't have an estate plan, all types of things that, again, at Churchill, one of the core values, it's chopping wood, and annual reviews are chopping wood. And it's the more you give, the more you get. Although at Churchill, it's just give. We just give with no expectation of getting. But let's face it, we're mortgage professionals, and we've got to generate referrals. The more you give to CPAs, financial planners, and realtors, the more you're going to get. Reason for, And let's face it, doing annual reviews, one, it's not easy. It's not easy from a tech stack perspective. Like what Churchill has done and how they've integrated Mortgage Coach, these are not easy things to do. And there's a lot of mortgage companies that don't have the tech stack that you do. They don't have the automation that you have. And by the way, is it easy as a loan officer just to say, I'm too busy to do annual reviews? Heck yeah. So that's another big reason is consistently, persistently, over time doing annual reviews, not an easy thing to do. But if you do it, you distinguish yourself. You distinguish yourself with the realtors that you serve, the agents that you serve. You are now, and by the way, think about it. If you were having like 20, 30, whatever the number is, 40 annual review conversations a month, think of how much smarter you would be. Think of the stories and confidence that you would show up to in realtor meetings. So I again, this is why I start making like, this is the number one strategy, because you can all get into these 15-minute conversations with families. And these, by the way, these people are friendly. These people like you, trust you. They already did business with you. These are the kind of conversations that give you energy, that make you enjoy your job. So imagine if you did that, you were getting leads, you were getting referrals, and now think about how you're going to show up in these realtor meetings, in these partner meetings. Again, I don't know. I mean, Matt, what is the value on confidence? You know, how valuable is confidence?
Well, one, confidence is key to having any conversation, I think. And what gives people confidence going into a conversation is having something to say and somebody to say it to. And an annual mortgage review gives you both in just an incredibly easy way. And you just think about doing those annual mortgage reviews every single month, the number of referrals you're going to get just from those clients referring friends and family as well. It's a tremendous strategy there.
Cool. So number 6, it doesn't matter what the market is. You know, this is not a refi strategy. It's like, oh, rates are down. Now, by the way, when there's a refi strategy, these annual reviews do bring in even more incremental loans. So no doubt. But this isn't every market strategy. This is a strategy so that in 2020, as our industry continues to have a digital transformation, that you are relevant. You distinguish yourself as a human being. Because let's face it, human beings want to do business with human beings. And the human beings that are going to be most successful in 2020 are the human beings that partner with technology so they can have more conversations, so they can project themselves with video and use technology. So again, it doesn't matter what the market conditions are. And in this, number 7 was really just my pitch to Mike and Matt and other companies that I serve, is that, you know, if you create a culture that does this and executes this, think about from a recruiting and retention standpoint. And for everybody that's on this call and you're a branch manager, think about it. Like of the loan officers that you're trying to recruit, how many of them are doing annual reviews? By the way, how many of them are exceeding their personal financial goals? And if you had a culture and a tech stack that could execute around this vision, it's like, literally, it's like, oh, how many past customers do you have? Oh, yeah, 500. That equals 50 loans a year. How many loans are you closing a year? Oh, not quite 50. Well, you just brought them a system and a paradigm to add 50 extra loans a year. Oh, you have 1,000 past customers? That's 100 loans a year. You know, and not only is that 100 loans a year, that's 150 referrals that you're giving to CPAs, financial planners, and realtors. So, guys, what I am evangelizing on and why I'm saying this is number 1, because literally if you just executed this one strategy at a level of excellence, consistency, and persistence over time, it will take care of everything. You will be the person you need to be when you show up to agents. You will just show up differently. So Matt, those are the reasons. There's my rant. And that's kind of like how I wanted, like, hey guys, let's jump on a conference call. I think it was a Saturday or a Sunday. I was actually getting my tires changed, and I was like stuck in a place for like an hour and a half. So I had some extra time to write up an email. And this is the rant I would have had if we would have jumped on the phone and talked. Anything you want to add to that? And by the way, does anybody have a question or a comment so far?
First of all, Dave, if they're all muted, you want them to send some sort of a message if they've got a question?
Can you see the chat, by the way? You know, because I'm sharing my screen, I can't see it.
Let me see.
See if anybody has a question in chat.
I can see the chat.
Okay, you interrupt me when they do it. So I am going to get into some practical how-tos. So
let me jump in real quick just to emphasize something you said, because you used some words that we've been communicating out for quite some time now, which is persistently consistent. right? This is one of those right activities that if you do consistently over time will generate great results. And I don't know how much time it takes to do an annual mortgage review right now. My guess is not very long. And if they took the time every single day to do 3 to 5 annual mortgage reviews and make the phone calls, and they did that every day over time, I believe the output of those calls would just be outstanding. I believe it would change many people's years.
Absolutely. So let me walk you through the rest of this article, and then let's drive a couple actions, see if there's some questions. Also want to share a couple ideas on how to show up in that realtor meeting. But I was writing this article, and this was really like, I had this email back and forth with Mike and Matt, and I'm like, okay, now I want to have this conversation with the whole mortgage coach community. So why do I think what I think? Like, why do I believe this? And again, there's a whole lot of other videos, other success stories that have formed this belief in my mind. But one of them was, I had breakfast with Wally Elderberry, $100 million loan officer, at Sales Mastery. And really just the agenda was for me to say thank you, because he's done a great job of inspiring and teaching our community. So we had breakfast, and I just asked him, what was your big takeaway from Sales Mastery this year? And on his own, he's like, annual reviews are my number one. I'm going to do 500 of them in 2018. And I'm like, whoa, we finished the breakfast, and I was like, let's go outside. We got to record this, because I already had this value for annual reviews, and I'm just like, man, I wish loan officers could have been in this breakfast, and I want people to know what your intention is. So that's part of this LinkedIn article. Check it out. It's just a quick conversation. And then, by the way, this one was 60 days later. So Wally, he huddled up with his team. He said, this is what we're going to do. This is how we're going to do it. A 10-minute interview breaking down the results that he's had. And again, this is a guy who had never done an annual review, who's now made it his number one priority for 2018, 60 days later. Check it out. And then about a month ago, I interviewed Rick Shear, and again, $100 million producer, so he's super successful. I can't remember, I think it was either end of November, early December when I did the interview. And I was asking him, hey, what's the headline? What should we talk about? And he goes, well, what I think we should talk about is last year, coming into the end of the year, so end of 2016, I came up with, a dozen things that I was going to do to make 2017 awesome. And I think sharing my results from those things would be really good. By the way, annual reviews was one of those things. And I took that interview with Rick, and we took just the best 10 minutes of it, and we made it available. And again, this interview with Rick, again, not only will it grow your why, it also has some very practical tips and strategies around how he does annual reviews. Now, I will say, I've now talked to dozens and dozens and dozens of mortgage coach professionals, and there's like no exact way that they're all doing it. Some of them are just making outbound calls. Hey, it's been your annual anniversary. Congratulations. Boom. Some of them are sending out emails with automatic scheduling tools so that families can just click a link and schedule it. Some of it are using their assistants in different ways. So there's no one way that I'm going to say you should do it, but I will tell you that every single one of them should equal a total cost analysis, and everybody I've interviewed aligns around that, whether it's automatically created by your system or whether you had to spend the less than 5 minutes to actually manually create it. It is worth, every annual review is worth more than 5-minute TCA and a 15-minute phone call. I am supremely confident of that. So one last interview to support the success story. Again, this interview I did with John Downs. Again, this was on his, I think when I did the interview, it was 45 days into using Mortgage Coach. And by the way, the interview and the headline and what I asked him I wanted to talk about was, how are you getting more realtor referrals with Mortgage Coach? By the way, when I did this interview, I hadn't even come to the conclusion that annual reviews are number one. So it was just like, John, what are the top ways you're using Mortgage Coach to get more realtor referrals? And this guy on his own figured out that annual reviews would get him more realtor referrals. So again, another great interview. I want to close out at least of this annual review conversation with, we are very passionate Mortgage Coach to help you. And so we've done a couple things. One, we've got this text challenge. One of my goals for 2018 is to help loan officers hold themselves more accountable. Like most loan officers say, yes, I want to do a Mortgage Coach report. Yes, I believe this is a better way of doing it. So part of our goal as a training organization is to not only teach you and show you how to do it, but it's to help hold you accountable to doing it. So we, with the help of Kristen Messerly, she sponsored this for us, and we have a mobile accountability challenge going where if you text MCARM to 555-888, you'll get a reminder every day on your mobile phone saying, how many annual reviews did you do today? And if you say 0, you can see what we tell you. If you say 1, we've got a response. If you say 3, we say great job. And so it's just a way to remind you. So if you want to opt into that, accountability challenge, I put the number in chat and the number's there. So we're about 30 minutes into this. I have kind of said my piece on that. Matt, do we have questions?
No questions yet, but I have a comment to make, because I heard a very consistent theme as you were going through your case studies. And this is what I heard. $100 million plus producer, some of which haven't been really using Mortgage Coach, but have recently have bought into it being a better way to communicate with their clients and doing annual mortgage reviews as a part of the business that they're going to really now focus on. We have one $100 million producer at Churchill. I believe we have several that could be there. What I heard was that these people that are already $100 million plus, having the humility to accept the fact that they don't know everything about mortgage and the desire to get better and improve their practice, and making this a number one priority that they're going to commit to in order to do that. I would challenge the people on this call to do the same, because you're listening from people who are exponentially beyond where most of our salespeople are in terms of production. Yet they still have the humility to learn. I was looking at, I forget, maybe it was Rick's background. If you looked at his bookshelf, it was a bookshelf in the shape of the letters LEARN.
That was Wally. Yeah.
That was Wally. Isn't that something?
Yeah. No, he's a
voracious 100 million plus
learner.
Producer having the humility to put on his wall LEARN, recognizing that it's only in the continual learning and perfection of those skills that they have a lasting, successful business practice. And the best of the best get that. I wish everybody would dive in that same way. Seth Bellis just had a question. It says, Dave, is Wally doing all of the annual reviews himself, or is he having a team member handle them?
Great question. So in Wally's case, today, as he perfects his system, he is having all of the conversation 2 months into it, but his team is handling all the scheduling through a combination of, bulk emails, self-scheduling it. I don't know if he's using Calendly or Schedule Once, but, the customer is clicking on a link, and then his team is doing other stuff. So
Dave,
team
can I add to that answer?
Yeah.
Let me add to that answer, because I read like I'll get some objections on this from time to time, and those objections sometimes are, well, I don't have time. Well, sure, they're doing it because they have a big team. And my response is, they have a big team because they're doing it. Because they're investing the time up front where they have to maybe put in a little extra effort and time and do some real professional time blocking and put in the effort on a consistent basis over time to build their production so that they can hire the team to do some of these other activities. But on the annual mortgage review, it's such a personal connection to that client. I think that's RLO's job, not their teams.
Absolutely. And again, in my interview with Todd today, he talked about, average loan officers in their inbox for over 3 hours. And, so everybody could do a better job of personal productivity. And that's one of the reasons I'm going to show on my screen right now that I started this, this mission. It's been over a year now, where every Friday for any mortgage professional, this is not just mortgage coach, we do what's called the productivity mastermind. And it really is a mastermind. And there's also a Facebook group that, anybody on this call, you can just do a search on Facebook and we'll add you to the group. But it's a pretty robust group. And this was created to help create more accountability so that we could help our, the people that we serve, the mortgage industry, and specifically mortgage coach loan officers, be more productive. So, there's a lot of engagement in this group. It's, I hope some of you are already part of this group and active in this group. But, at this point, we've made a pitch. You should do annual reviews. I've given you a text challenge that you could use to help keep yourself accountable. You could join us on these Friday calls and join this group. And then, I purposely didn't come to this call with a mortgage coach trainer because I really wanted to connect emotionally, and just have a single goal. Matt and I talking about it. Again, I hope to get a few more questions for the audience, but to get you to connect with, I need to do this. And now, we are happy to set up more training, but I want to remind everybody that if you've created less than 20 mortgage coach reports, every Monday we do live training. We'll help you go from, I don't know how to ride a bike, to I can ride a bike without training wheels. Monday. Every Tuesday I'm interviewing someone amazing. Today I interviewed Todd Duncan. Every Wednesday we teach you how to use your mobile device more effectively out there in the marketplace. And then again, every Thursday at 9 o'clock, we're just there to answer your questions. So if anybody on this call said, how do I do annual reviews, or how do I do this? We've got a live trainer available on Thursday. You will know how to do it. And again, remember that Friday's mastermind, we've got videos on how to do an annual review. So I came to this call to connect emotionally, to answer questions. But I want to remind everybody, if you want to know how to do it, or you don't know how to do it technically with Mortgage Coach, we've got a place for you to go and get trained on. So two more little things I want to make sure I don't get off this call without sharing is anybody that has not listened to this, 15-minute interview with the 5 questions to ask at realtor meetings, absolute must, because part of my reason for making annual reviews, the number one priority, is so you could have more realtor meetings and you could be more successful in those realtor meetings. So it's important that you kind of know how to go into that meeting, what questions to ask, and then it's important that you know how to introduce Mortgage Coach into those meetings. So I want to make sure you guys check out this video. And if you do want us to do more, like this was not a training, this was a conversation between me and Matt and you. But if you want to do more Mortgage Coach training, our trainer will follow up, and we're happy to put some things on the calendar. One last little heads up, because this is another hot strategy that's trending in Mortgage Coach land, is the concept of paperless open houses. So if you've not listened to my interview, first of all, if you're a loan officer that does open houses, check this out. I interviewed a realtor, 4 years in the business, did a little over 200 transactions this year, and our number one referral source are open houses. And so if you want to support agents and maximize lead capture at open houses, you got to check this out. So Matt, that was kind of the things I wanted to share. Let's just see what other questions we have, and then I'm going to stop sharing my screen, and let's see what people want to talk about, or we'll wrap it up.
Dave, I don't have any other questions on the chat yet, but tell everybody how they can access all that material again, all those interviews and articles, etc.
Yeah, so I guess I'll start sharing my screen one more time. So by the way, I put these in links in chat, but one, if you just go to my LinkedIn, these are all articles in my LinkedIn profile. So if, you go to the bottom, these are what I've shared are articles in LinkedIn. Also, if you go to the Mortgage Coach YouTube channel, we're so passionate about annual reviews. We've added a playlist this year just for annual reviews. In fact, I've even added a playlist for 2018 annual reviews. So, LinkedIn videos, those are resources to help you build your sales skills and your sales strategies. And then, of course, if you don't know how to sign up for a mortgage coach training, one, you can always email support@mortgagecoach.com and we will help you get started. But you can also just go to our calendar, and every single training that we do, whether it's, the Tuesday call, whether, today I interviewed Todd Duncan, it's on our training calendar. So, you can sign up for those. Next week, I'm interviewing the author of Blue Fishing. It's going to be crazy. I don't know if you've heard about this guy, but, well, I'm not going to, I've shared a lot. I'm just going to tell you that I'm excited about it. It should be a great call. Matt, any other questions?
I don't see any other questions on this conversation.
So let me close with this challenge for everybody, because one, I want to see who's listening, and two, who's going to participate. In chat, let me know I'm in. How many annual reviews are you, what's your challenge? What's your goal? How many past customers you have. You have a sense of your bandwidth. How many annual reviews are you going to do over the next 30 days? So throw the challenge out. Rob's in, Steve's in, Chris is in, 45, 2 to 4 a day. Love that. I'm in. 5 a week. I'm in. Is Wally, anyways, it's starting to go so fast that I can't keep up with it. 20, 30, 30. I'm in. 3 to 5 a week. 30. So first of all, love that. Makes me feel like we created some value together today. I guess I would recommend to everybody that you schedule some on time. We call it schedule a jam session. By the way, my one action for everybody at the end of this call, put that in Outlook with a reminder that I'm going to schedule a jam session, 30 minutes to an hour, to pencil out what I need to do this, who I need to communicate with, do I need to figure out how to email, schedule your time to do this, and then be really clear on what is your win the day goal. So it's great that you have monthly goals and weekly goals, but it seems like the most common is like 30, 5 a week. So that would be 1 a day. So make it really clear that I did not have a great day. I did not have a winning day if I did not do 1 annual review. I took Ken Perry's push-up challenge. So I'm doing a 1 push-up for what day it is. So I only had to do 9 push-ups today. I don't know what I'm going to do when it gets to be the 300th day of the year. But I'm personally, going to be doing 300 plus push-ups a day by the end of the year, every single day. Make sure you take that same concept and you do it with annual reviews. And just think, if you did 30 a month times 12, it's crazy.
Crazy.
By the way, think of how many families you could help, how many leads you could generate. And there would not be if you did that, by the way, if you did 1 annual review a day, there would not be a person on this meeting or in this call that didn't close over 60 loans. And my guess is if you actually did that, there probably wouldn't be a person that did that and actually executed on that closed less than 100 loans. So figure it out. Do you want to close over, whatever your number is, that's how many annual reviews you need to do.
Great.
All right.
Thank you, Dave.
Have a great day, everybody. Thanks for giving us 40 minutes of your time. This call's a wrap.